Hello Internet Allies and welcome back to a little geeky series on my YouTube channel called the Sorting Hat Challenge, where I sort non-Harry Potter characters into what I think their Hogwarts houses should be. Hey. So this time, because over the past few years I've collected a lot of pot figures, I think now I've got over 100, which is kind of crazy. I thought I'd sort some of the pot figures I've collected into what I think their Hogwarts houses should be. I'm going to start off with sorting 3 pot figures of characters that have been in previous Sorting Hat videos, but I've since changed my mind about what house I think they'd be in. I'm going to start off with Spider-Man. Now I only have a black Spider-Man pot figure, but that is absolutely fine. So originally I had him in Ravenclaw, but after thinking about it, I think he might belong in Slytherin because Spider-Man is quite like secretive and cunning and thinks quick on his feet and everything as well, which I think Slytherins do very, very well. So next up are a couple of characters who I originally had in Slytherin, but I've since changed my mind and think that they're better suited in other houses. And the first of these characters is Elsa, and I'm going to resort Elsa into Hufflepuff. She does care a lot about her family and, you know, loyalty and stuff like that, and you know, it really made her unhappy when she had to distance herself from Anna as well and stuff like that. And now that they've kind of grouped together again, and now they're like getting on really, really well, like a house on ice. Fire, whatever with Anna. So yeah, another character who I originally had in Slytherin but have since changed my mind is Lightning McQueen. And I think Lightning McQueen would actually be in Gryffindor because of his red and yellow colours. He actually learns like values of like humility and friendship along the way of his journey, and also even though he does have ambition and everything, like, you know, he sometimes does make quite spontaneous and reckless decisions sometimes and stuff like that, like, and decisions that may not have been well thought through either. However, there are some pot figures that I think would be in Ravenclaw, but these were all new characters. Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, this might be a surprise to some of you, but I do think that Shadow the Hedgehog's main goal is to like kind of learn a lot more about his existence and to learn more about what his purpose is and a lot about himself. Next up in Ravenclaw is Jack Skellington. He's just so fascinated by Christmas and wants to basically like learn a lot about Christmas, and basically he's like in charge of like coming up with new Halloween traditions every year and stuff like that, and yeah, and basically making Halloween as fun and creative as possible every single year. Okay, so next up in Ravenclaw are a few Star Wars characters, because I mean I could make a whole other video for sorting Star Wars characters into Hogwarts houses, but there are so many Star Wars characters, we'd be here like all day. However, I'm going to start off with Rey, because you know, she could be like a Ravenclaw, get it? Yeah, she's very clever, very smart, and you know, appreciates like learning about the ways of the Force and everything, but she doesn't like sacrifice, you know, her values to sort of learn about the ways of the Force either. You know, she still stays true to herself. Last couple of Star Wars characters I'd sort into Ravenclaw at the moment are the Skywalker twins, Luke and Leia. So Leia, people do look up to her and people do trust her and stuff like that. She is able to fend for herself as well. You know, she is very clever as well. Like, you know, she's quite independent as well. And Luke, I also would put in Ravenclaw because, again, similar to Rey, he's been like quite a similar journey to Rey, and he learns like an appreciation for the Force without like sacrificing his values. Moving on to Gryffindor now. So another series that I think has a lot of characters and could easily be its own Sorting Hat Challenge video is Game of Thrones. And there are 2 characters I have pot figures of from Game of Thrones that I think would both be in Gryffindor, and they are Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen. So Jon Snow is very brave and very honourable and is able to stand up for himself when he doesn't really think things are right and stuff. And Daenerys, she's basically like defied the odds, like to basically, you know, become like a great leader and stuff. I mean, I know Slytherin's more of a leadership house, but I feel like Daenerys, you know, she kind of wants, you know, equality for, like, you know, slaves and stuff like that, like, and stuff. So, you know, she frees slaves, breaker of chains and all that kind of stuff. Fire as well, you know, fire's like an emblem of Gryffindor as well. She's very fiery and very feisty, and yeah, like, basically very assertive and stuff like that. Like, I feel like, you know, you could learn a lot from Daenerys as well. Like, just don't get on the wrong side of her. So my last sorting hat video was the Pixar sorting hat challenge, and there were a few Pixar characters because, you know, there's so many Pixar characters as well, like, that I just didn't have time to, like, sort into Hogwarts houses. And one of those characters was Nemo, and I definitely think Nemo will be a Gryffindor because, you know, he just wants to explore the ocean, even though his dad's not all that happy about it. He's very free-spirited as well. Also, when I made that Pixar sorting hat challenge, I had not seen the film Coco, but now I've seen the film Coco, I think Hector would be a good Gryffindor. He does have that kind of balance of, you know, family loyalty and also wanting things for himself as well. So now, moving on to Slytherin. So again, with Pixar theme, another character in Slytherin is Hank as well. He's kind of rebellious, you know, kind of wants to sneak out of the aquatic, like, preservation centre or whatever it's called. I don't think it's really an aquarium, but it's where, like, they sort of preserve aquatic wildlife and basically then release it back into the wild. But yeah, Hank just wants to escape, basically, to be honest, and by any means necessary. You know, he can turn himself invisible, so he's quite sneaky as well. Two characters who I think are very similar, that both would belong in Slytherin, I think, are Sherlock Holmes and Elf from Death Note. Yeah, so basically they're both very clever, very good at, like, deducing things and stuff like that, you know, very good at, like, coming to, like, a conclusion and stuff like that, like, and all are both also very secretive, like, basically they don't really want people to know about what they do and stuff like that, like, you know, they like to be in, like, the shadows and stuff like that, like, yeah, so they don't get found out and they don't get put into danger, basically. The final character I'm going to sort into Slytherin is Riku. Now, in the first Kingdom Hearts game, Riku is very, like, attracted to power. He wants to be the best. But then, after the first Kingdom Hearts game, he is basically, like, really protective of Sora and is willing to do anything to make sure he's safe. And also, speaking of Kingdom Hearts, I basically want to show you this. I got a Wayfinder tattoo. Yay. Yeah, I love it. It's really awesome. Last but not least, Hufflepuff, and the first character I'm going to sort into Hufflepuff is BB-8 because BB-8 is incredibly loyal and incredibly helpful to the Resistance and basically is willing to do anything he can to basically help. Next Hufflepuff, SpongeBob SquarePants! SpongeBob SquarePants! SpongeBob SquarePants! Yeah, he's, like, really hardworking and stuff like that. He loves his job, even though they may not appreciate him at the Krusty Krab, and also, you know, he really loves his friends, you know, he's always really happy to see them, he's always happy to spend time with Patrick and Sandy and Squidward, you know, he loves everybody and stuff like that, and, you know, it's kind of great, so I think that's why SpongeBob would be a great Hufflepuff. Also, he's yellow as well, so absorbent and yellow and porous is he. Okay, so last but not least, a couple of DreamWorks characters now. So, Shrek is going to be a Hufflepuff as well because, like, you know, even though, you know, he does sort of like his own space and stuff like that, like, you know, he is very, like, family orientated, you know, like, he is kind of, like, you know, actually a nice guy once you get to know him, and also he's not after, like, you know, glory or power or anything like that. Last but not least, for Hufflepuff is Toothless. Now, Toothless is one of my favourite, he's probably one of my favourite DreamWorks characters, or one of my favourite characters ever, really. And yeah, Toothless, you know, is in Hufflepuff because, you know, he just wants what's best for, like, Hiccup and the Vikings, but also as well as the dragons as well. Okay, so what I've done now is basically I've rearranged the pop figures on these shelves depending on what I think their Hogwarts house would be. So here we have the Ravenclaw shelf with you know, characters that we sorted in this video, as well as a few characters behind them that I also think would be Ravenclaw. You can see Iron Man just popping out there. Moving down, we have the Slytherin shelf. You know, we have like all the Slytherins, as well as like some of the Marvel Slytherins, the Overwatch Slytherins, and maybe some of the Disney Slytherins, and a few others. And if we go down further, we have the Hufflepuff shelf, which, you know, you can see Groot sticking out, and Mega Man and Quicksilver, as well as a few others. And then if we go down even further to my shelf, the Gryffindor shelf, you can see the characters we sorted there, as well as like Farah and Buzz Lightyear. And you got like Mario Galaxy in the background as well. Anyway, thanks very much guys for watching this pop figure sorting hat video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having a wonderful... So thanks very much guys for watching this sorting hat challenge video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this has made your day a little bit brighter. I hope you have a wonderful day, whatever you guys end up doing. Until next time, Team What's blasting off again. Bye bye!